Welcome back, folks, to another live episode here, College Baseball Live on Saturday mornings here from the College Baseball Show, brought to you by Just Baseball Media. What a fantastic third weekend that we're starting off here, fellas, and just excited to get into this. Today I got three co-hosts with me today. I got Hunter Shelton from us here at Just Baseball Show. How we doing, Hunter?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Some of the early results were a little slow throughout the day on Friday, but as we got later into the night, go over to California, San Luis Obispo, things got a little wild. So it was a good finish to the first day.
Yeah, we got to some fun games there. Both Will Massa and Tyler Jennings are down there at the Amegy. How we doing, fellas? I'll start with Will. How you doing, man?
This is going to be fantastic.
Well, how about Tyler? Can you hear me, Tyler?
Is it doing what I think it's doing?
There we go.
Okay. Well, we're going to get going here into this one here. Can't hear either one of those guys right now, but we see them. Probably the Wi-Fi down there. They're down at the Bank Amegy Classic there. Let's get talking about these, Hunter. That Friday morning game there, Mississippi State and Arizona State, really good there. Really good starting pitching. The 3-run bomb there in the fifth for Garrick Frey was the turning point. Just 7 hits for each side. Dominic Smaldino and Longo both hit home runs for Arizona State late. Pretty good showing there if you're Mississippi State, though, right, Hunter?
Yeah, no, this was by no means the most dominant performance that we saw from a team yesterday, but it was just good, clean baseball, right? Like Ryan McPherson goes out and gives you his best start of the season. And Cole Carlin for Arizona State looked the part too. And, obviously Cramps ended his day early, and Arizona State had to rush a guy out of the pen. Garrick Frey pinch hit, 3-run home run, kind of breaks things open. And from there, Mississippi State cruised. I think they had 7 hits from 7 different guys. Ace Reese went 0 for 5, but my main takeaway from watching Mississippi State through these first few weekends has just been how deep this lineup is. Like Brian O'Connor has this luxury of being able to pinch hit for guys early. He can do it often. He's got they're deep at multiple positions, just about every position. And then when you're getting good starting pitching like they've gotten so far, they're just going to be a tough team to beat every day.
Yeah, it feels like a solid team. It feels like an old Virginia team from Brian O'Connor. Like it just feels like they're going to go out, compete. They're going to win games. They don't have to do it flashy. They're not going to do it with the big fly all the time, but they get a good hit when they need it from Frey. It's enough to really hold off Arizona State, who's been on fire offensively. But a really good performance there. If you're Mississippi State fans, you got to be pretty excited to open up that thing with the win this weekend.
Yeah.
Will, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I absolutely can.
Hey, we got both Will and Tyler back now. How we doing, fellas?
I'm muted.
We're doing great. We're watching Tennessee take some BP right now, getting ready for day 2. I was just going to chime in on Mississippi State. Even Brian O'Connor, he mentioned after the game that he can just match up guys with pinch hitters whenever he feels like, and that team is so deep, and it just opens up so much stuff for them to be able to do throughout the season.
Yeah, so many guys can go take any at bat at any point. It feels like he can just put somebody out there situationally, and they're going to perform, and that's what they've done so far. It's got to be a great luxury for him, and he's going to be able to get a lot of guys at bats this season, and that's just going to be better for them down the season stretch. So very excited for this team.
He was really fired up about McPherson, especially because he's making the jump out of the bullpen into the starting rotation. So to be able to see him extend into the 6th, 7th inning, still throwing 95, I think is a big, big plus for them.
Yeah, that's great. Great. I'm going to jump to the next one here. Vanderbilt and UC Irvine. Vanderbilt 4, UC Irvine 9. Big win on Friday night in Vegas there for UC Irvine. Hunter, Trevor Hansen is now 3-0. Looks the part of a Friday night guy for UC Irvine. I know I'll go to Tyler a little bit after this one because Tyler and I talked about him on the Thursday night show. But this is, the Vanderbilt offense didn't really show up, but UC Irvine was just solid.
Yeah, no home runs for Vandy. What the hell?
Yeah,
what's going on?
That's the takeaway, right?
The fact right.
No long ball meant not enough runs for them.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean, I'm not too worried if I'm Vanderbilt coming off this. It was a 4-run 6th inning for Irvine that really kind of pushed things away. Connor Fennell has been okay to start the year. He hasn't been great, but I think we'll see him work things out. But yeah, 11 hits for Irvine. 9 of them were singles. They kind of nickel and dimed Vandy as the game went on. But this is West Coast baseball. So I'm curious to see how Vandy rebounds the rest of the way because they had a couple of losses in Arlington. This is their second chance to kind of get a couple of marquee wins. I know Arizona has obviously not panned out to be what we thought they were going to be, but if they can go out and beat Arizona and Oregon and come away with a 2-1 weekend, I think there's still some hope for sure.
Yeah, and Tyler, we talked about Trevor Hansen. He looked the part again. He goes out against a very tough lineup. doesn't allow the big fly, gives up some runs and some hits, but really overall very solid performance for him and gets a very good lineup of Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I would wager and say this is arguably probably his worst start in terms of just looking at the box score throughout the year, because he went 6 shutout against Sacramento State opening weekend. He nearly went complete game against Cal a week ago. So to see only 5 innings, 3 earned, 3 walks, and 5 Ks, it is what it is with that. But like he's been really impressive to open the season. I think this is a guy that really uses fastball curveball combination very, very well. He really tones it solidly. I wouldn't be shocked if Trevor Hansen turns into like a top 5 round pick at this point, just because of how dominant he has been to open the season. If he holds that throughout the whole year, I think you're looking at a pretty high pick.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid arm, right? And that's really a guy that maybe projects into the end of a weekend rotation or the end of a rotation for an MLB team, or maybe a long relief guy. But he goes out there, gives you consistency, and he goes and throws a lot of strikes. And that's what you need in college baseball. And that's what you need at the MLB level, too, is to be able to throw strikes that guys can't hit. I think he'll develop a little bit more, but it's been really good for him as a weekend starter. And Friday night guy for UC Irvine is no easy task, especially when you're taking on some of these big roles and some of these big guns. So we'll see the rest of the weekend. Very excited for this one here as we continue that Las Vegas tournament. I'm going to go to Houston and Oregon State. I'll cover this one here because I was watching Dax. Great again. I mean, unbelievable. Striking out 11, allowing just the 1 run in the first that was manufactured by Houston, raising his season ERA to 1.0. He only has 1 win, though, 2 no decisions, but he finally gets his win. At some point, though, if you're an Oregon State fan, if you're an Oregon State follower, the offense has to come through at some point. Like 2 unearned runs is all that Oregon State pushes across there. And if you're going to get these kind of performances from Dax Whitney and Ethan Kleinschmidt's been good, and Eric Segura's been good, White Queen's been good, the fact of the matter is Oregon State's got to figure out a way to score runs, and this offense is just not doing it. They only have 2 guys that are hitting over 300 right now. Jacob Craig is hitting sub 200 right now for these guys. I mean, it's been a struggle. Will, I know we talked about this a little bit just in the fact of when is Oregon State going to find some offense?
Oh, man. That's a really good question. I mean, again, like you mentioned, it's 2 unearned runs on mistakes that you don't typically see. So, almost not even, mistakes are going to happen at this level of baseball. College baseball is known for having mistakes in it, but it was a bad mistake yesterday by Houston. It was like almost a more rare error that you would see. And again, like only being able to push across 2 unearned, like at some point it's going to bite them. I don't know when it is, but it's going to at some point. Maybe against Oregon. I know they play Oregon on Tuesday. I think they could really struggle offensively there. And no shade to Houston. Houston has played fantastic baseball this year. But they pitched off yesterday. They pitched off against Dax Whitney. Paul Schmitz didn't throw yesterday, who's been their Friday night guy all season. So when you take that into account as well, like today might be trouble for Oregon State. And Houston is probably going to look and pick up another win on Saturday. And that team has been really solid. And they were a base hit away from winning that game. I mean, realistically, you had bases loaded 1 out in the 9th and couldn't push anything across.
Yeah, and it would have been unreal for Dax to get another no decision in that game had they gone up and tied that game. But I mean, I kind of said it all offseason. I said that this Oregon State team is going to be a lot like the 06-07 squads, where they're going to have to manufacture runs. They're going to have to figure out ways to score. It's going to be pitching and defense. They've done those things. They've done those things well. They just haven't scored. They haven't got those timely hits. They're going to have to find somebody on this roster that's going to be able to get them timely hits and be able to get some RBIs across, because eventually they're going to have to score more than 2 runs to win ball games. And the fact of the matter is, it's a win. It's not pretty, though. Let's go to Tennessee UCLA. Tennessee 5, UCLA 12. Friday night there, guys. Or Friday afternoon, you guys were able to watch that game. Tyler, LeVue homers, Brennan homers, Martin homers, and Gasparino hits 2. Unbelievable performance from UCLA offensively.
Yeah, and the thing was that whenever Coons was on the mound, like he wasn't making bad pitches. He didn't walk a guy. He struck out 10, but UCLA was just able to put barrel on really good pitches and was able to do a lot of damage on it. Like the LeVue home run was on a inner half fastball, like at the knees, which I think was probably a mistake pitch personally. But then the first home run to Gasparino was a slider, all the way off the plate that went 431 to dead center. Peyton Brennan went 434 oppo. it was really impressive what UCLA was able to do. Coons didn't make a ton of mistakes, but whatever they were able to get, they took advantage of it and really rolled with it. I will admit, like, Tennessee did make it a game somewhere in like the sixth inning. It was like 5-4, but then the bullpen kind of just fell apart, unfortunately. Which, there were three games with 3 bullpen meltdowns yesterday. Admittedly, Arizona State didn't have a good bullpen day. Tennessee really struggled, and we'll talk about Virginia Tech later. But it was a common theme yesterday where games are close, and then we get to the 6th, starters are out, and then it's just mayhem from there. So, hoping that doesn't happen today, but Tennessee's going to have Landon Mack on the mound with the Rutgers transfer, and very anxious to see if they can get anything going against Colin Linder from Arizona State. It's going to be a fun game here to watch, but, I think the biggest takeaway yesterday was Tennessee's bullpen is definitely not as strong as we think it was coming into the year. And obviously this UCLA team can just rake.
Yeah, I mean, I take it 2 ways, right? It's like, okay, Tennessee's bullpen, probably not where we had them, but UCLA can hit. And so it's like, it's a tough one because you're like, is that just going up against a really good offensive team that takes advantage of any mistake? Every team in the country is not going to hit like this UCLA team does and puts pressure on you 1 through 9. But again, big outing there. The takeaway for me offensively for Tennessee, Levi Clark again, another 0 for a game, hitting into 2 ground ball double plays. Like, the offensive struggles for some of these guys. Henry Ford only getting the 1 hit. Like, there just wasn't a lot of production from the Tennessee lineup. And I think that they're going to have a lot more of that getting into SEC play. Alabama and Iowa. Alabama 12, Iowa 2. The Frisco Classic here. Hunter, Vaughn, Fowler, and LeBron all hit homers. 13 hits for Alabama. Tyler Fay looks good. This is a good sign for Alabama fans, correct? Like, maybe this is the team we all expected of them when we had them ranked so high to start the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you go back to last season, it was at the Jacks Classic when Bama went 3-0. I believe that was the second weekend of the season, perhaps, or the third. And, they really kind of boosted their stock from there. This feels like a really similar opportunity for them where, this is not the strongest field of the tournaments that are, happening this weekend, but Bama certainly looks the part, and you really can't ask for much more than what they got yesterday. That was Tyler Fay's easily his best start of the season so far. Justin LeBron, I think that's home run 5 for him now, maybe 6. But it was just good, clean baseball. And Iowa is obviously no slouch. We saw other teams in the SEC stumble in the Big Ten yesterday. So I think for them it's just you plug away. You're happy to score 12 runs after what happened in the midweek at Pete Taylor. And now you just kind of keep it pushing. I think they've got Oregon State today, right? So get a chance to get your second one of the weekend and just kind of keep it pushing for them. I think we still don't really know where Alabama sits in this SEC hierarchy, and I'm not totally sure that we'll get that answer coming out of this weekend. But if they go 3-0 and look as impressive as they did yesterday, then I think their stock is on the rise.
Yeah, and health-wise, they're getting healthy. And I think that's going to be a big thing. If they can get healthy before SEC play, good to see Fowler in the top of that lineup there, hitting the home run, Vaughn getting healthy. Like, these guys are starting to feel a little bit better. I think that's going to make a big difference for these guys. Yeah. And Tyler Fay can be a Friday night guy for them in SEC play. That's going to be a difference, I think, for Alabama going forward into SEC play. Virginia Tech 0, Texas A&M 10. It wasn't as bad as the score. Hunter Renfroe was really good. Tyler, I'll let you talk about this because you already alluded to that bullpen, and I'm going to switch to Will and let him talk about the offense of Texas A&M. But a big welcome back to our guy, Chris Akopian, starting off the game for A&M with that big bomb. Other than that, Renfroe was really good, Tyler. He was really good for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, he was mixing his pitches very, very well, and that's a big thing that I noticed with Renfroe over the past couple years. His pitchability is outstanding. The biggest thing, he touched 98, which he hasn't done that in the past, which is kind of a noteworthy thing for the draft side. Is there's more velocity. He was averaging mid-90s. The home run that Hakopian hit was actually a changeup. Like, you could see in the video I posted where you could see Hakopian kind of change his hands a little bit, like mid-swing, to adjust to the pitch, and he still hit it like 106, 424, and almost went into the left center field bullpen. It was a really impressive piece of hitting against a pitch that wasn't bad. So, for me, the biggest thing was Renfroe getting through 5, I do believe, and then just everything from there kind of fell apart. They went to Preston Crowell first off. He couldn't throw a strike. They went through about 4 different arms out of the pen and ended up losing a run rule 10-0 in 7 innings. So, kind of want to see what the rest of the weekend looks for Virginia Tech. We've talked about the starting pitching being a legitimate, not a concern, but like they're legitimate this year. It's a strong part for that team. But the bullpen definitely gave me a lot more question marks last night watching how they pitched. But interested to see how they bounce back and play today against Mississippi State. I do believe they get the middle game.
Yeah, it was interesting to me that bullpen just kind of came in and couldn't throw strikes. And when they did, those balls were getting hit real hard. And so that was like the thing. They had to throw fastballs down the middle. They got hit. Will, that offense for A&M was fairly non-existent early, but I mean, Renfro's a good pitcher, so that's okay. They come alive, and Shane Sedell, another just fantastic start here for Texas A&M.
Yeah, a couple things. Hakopian hits the home run, exits the game. Blake Bindrup takes over for him. Coach Early said that he's day-to-day right now. Sounds like he tweaked his back in that second at-bat. More precautionary than anything. He didn't say whether or not he'd be playing today, but definitely something to monitor over the next week or so as he continues to try and get healthy, because he's really a difference maker in that lineup. I mean, he really is. We saw it yesterday, and being able to go yard in his first at-bat back in over a week. The offense was, yes, kind of non-existent. They had a lot of hard contact. Even Tyler and I were talking on both sides of the ball. I mean, and Sedeo and Renfro were giving up a lot of loud contact. Virginia Tech had 3 diving plays in the outfield that otherwise are 3 extra doubles that are happening in the early section of the game. So I think you got to take it for what it's worth. Texas A&M hit a couple of balls on the screws, and Virginia Tech made really, really good plays in the outfield. So he gave up 5 hits. That could have been 9, quite honestly. A lot of balls that were hit really hard that didn't fall. So I thought Sedeo was really sharp. Talking to him after the game, he really was dying on the hill that he didn't have his best stuff at all, and really wasn't feeling it. Even from the bullpen, basically from the jump, he said he didn't have his best stuff. So, but that's going to be a huge confidence booster. I mean, if you're not having your best stuff is 6 shutout innings with 5 punch outs, only allowing 4 hits, like, you're going to have a pretty good season. And I think they're fired up for what he can do as well. Really, and like you said, Mark, like the score wasn't indicative of this game at all. I mean, this is a pitcher's duel. It was a really good defensive game. A couple of errors and really some really good at-bats by guys like Terrence Keel. He put together a really big sac fly, and then it felt like the wheels fell off for Virginia Tech after that, who also drew a really important walk earlier in the game that ended up pushing across a run. So I think you just got to look at the A&M offense. Like, they manufactured when they had to, and then they blew it open when they could. So it's, definitely a multifaceted offense that's going to be really scary in conference play.
Yeah, I'd say the offense isn't necessarily firing on all cylinders yet, and that was the part of their game that we thought was going to be the strongest. So the fact is, the pitching has been so good, you got to be frightened if you're an SEC fan saying, hey, this A&M team might be a lot better than they've played on paper so far. They got a lot more talent than what they've provided so far. So A&M fans remain undefeated. Got to be happy about that. Playing some okay baseball. It's going to get better, but the fact is the pitching's been really, really good. Speaking of pitching, Oregon Ducks beat Arizona 7-2 last night in Vegas. The starting pitching allows 0 runs. All of Oregon pitching allows 0 runs again. 5 hits in the game, which actually raises their hits per game to 4.66 now for the season per game. The fact is, Oregon Duck baseball has been a difference. Like, they've been a hitting team for a long time. They've switched. This year it's pitching and defense. They're doing those things really, really well. The superstars haven't necessarily been great. They've been good. It's not like Maloney's driving this offense. There's a lot of other pieces that are doing it. I mean, Laya, Jimenez, and Cooney, they all hit home runs there. It wasn't like the Hellmans. It wasn't the Maddox Maloneys. It's a lot of these support cast guys that are really stepping up and being huge for them. Arizona will 19 strikeouts and no earned runs. 1-8 now. And Owen Kramkowski, not good. Like, just not a good outing for him again, and it just feels like he doesn't have it.
Yeah, even Tyler and I were talking yesterday. Like, we just cannot figure out what's going on with Kramkowski. And granted, Tyler made a good point. Like, he's always been a guy that fills up the zone a lot and has been prone to getting hit hard. So I get it. Like, that's going to be part of his game at times. But I believe after yesterday, he's going to have an ERA approaching 10. Like,
it's 9.8 something.
Yeah, so through 3 starts, like, we're now approaching the point where we have a legitimate sample size, and he's not getting better. Again, I'm going to beat the drum on this. I beat the drum all off season. Like when you lose Kevin Vance and you lose all these pitching development people in house that have been so good for them, and quite frankly, the Arizona pitching staff wasn't as strong prior to those guys getting there. Like you're going to see regression, and it has nothing to do with the talent of these guys because we know what they can go out and do. I mean, we picked Owen Kramkowski to be Big 12 Pitcher of the Year for a reason. Like these are guys that are uber talented, and Smith Bailey has been really talented as a freshman, and he's just going to continue to get better. But they're adjusting without major pieces of the pitching staff, and offensively, I mean, I think we all anticipated a little bit of this, but 19 strikeouts. Yes, Oregon's pitching staff is very solid, but I mean, it's kind of been the story for them, right? Like they've struck out a ton this season and they haven't gotten big hits and they really haven't had a ton of power production anywhere in the lineup, even from guys that did get some significant playing time last year, like Andrew Kane. Like I'm very concerned for the offense. I was concerned for the offense coming into the year, and now like the pitching isn't throwing well. You don't have Tony Pluta. The offense looks maybe worse than we thought on paper initially. So
yeah,
I'm ready to hit the panic button. They're going to face off with Ricky Ojeda today and UC Irvine. Not an easy test by any stretch of the imagination. Oh no, I take that back. They play them on Sunday.
They got Vandy today. Yeah.
Oregon has them today. Okay, so at least they escape Ojeda. But nonetheless, Vandy's has always been a really solid pitching team. So you might see a similar story again. I definitely have some concerns. It feels like we're approaching must-win scenario for Arizona. Like get some resume wins while you still have the chance in non-con. Either that or they're going to have to run the Big 12 to have a chance in my book right now.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't pick up a win here, you're talking about a one-win team heading into league play. Like, that's not a good start for Arizona. And a team that a lot of people had in the top 25. I know we did not have them in the top 25, and because there's a lot of question marks. Those question marks have been glaring. I mean, they're exclamation points because it's a real big problem when you look there and there's no offense. They're just not showing up. And we believe Chip Hale, he's a tremendous coach. He's done this for a long time. He's got a lot of teams there. He's been really, really good. The fact of the matter is they're not good right now. They're going to have to figure some stuff out. Maybe a shuffle. Maybe you'll see some different dudes in the lineup. Maybe you'll see some young guys getting some opportunities and trying to push some of these older leaders. But right now it hasn't been good. Let's move to the Ole Miss game at the Bruce Bolt. Ole Miss 5, Baylor 6. Baylor scores in the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Hunter, this was a great start again by Elliott. He's just been really solid for them, giving them opportunities. But the bullpen just couldn't hang on, and they even took the lead again. Ole Miss takes the lead again in the 8th and the 9th, and they just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, no, the story here is Ole Miss 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. That's going to kill you. Yeah. And, you know, Tristan Becerra, I got to bang the Tristan Becerra drum. I've been doing it on Twitter all season long. This guy has been absolutely awesome for Ole Miss so far. And in my opinion, no one has like boosted their stock higher in the SEC than Becerra so far, just from what we expected. You know, we saw it when he was a freshman at Clemson this past season. You know, obviously, he was injured for a bit, but like he besides Judd Utermark, he has been the guy for Ole Miss so far. And, you know, and I think we certainly underrated Ole Miss a little bit coming into this season, just, you know, now that we've got a little bit of a sample size. But, you know, they obviously, you know, the runners in scoring position was what killed them. But Hunter Elliott, again, I want to compare him to, like, you know, he's a prize fighter for any MMA fans out there. He's like a Donald Cerrone type where, like, you know, if you're going to get him, you got to get him in the first round. You got to get him the first time through the order because the walks are going to be there. The command is not great. But once this guy settles in, we've seen it. You know, we saw him do it in Omaha. And, like, he's continued to do this. You know, he was not sharp against Missouri State last week. And you're going to get that with a guy like him. But it was 11 strikeouts, 3 walks across 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned. Like, the guy, you know, if Ole Miss gets into the postseason, which, you know, at this point, I think they're going to, you know, unless something, you know, horrible happens in SEC play, like that's a guy I want out there pitching in a regional. But, you know, they lost this game, though. So, you know, props to Baylor. One thing I didn't realize with the Bruce Bowl, you know, at Daikin Park in Houston is that they do have the MLB extra innings runner rule. So there was the ghost runner on second. I totally forgot about that. And Tice Armstrong, who had the 3 Grand Slam game on opening weekend, had the game-winning hit for Baylor there. So, you know, really fun games in Houston yesterday. That's kind of a tournament that wasn't totally on my radar coming in, you know, with the teams that we have in Arlington kind of being the star of the show. But I'm going to be a lot more locked in on them today and tomorrow.
Yeah, and kudos to the Bruce Bolts guys. If you guys go to the Houston Astros, you can go watch those games live. They are producing those games for free live,
Yep.
so you can go watch that tournament. It's pretty rad. We love that college baseball is getting out there more available. Again, tough loss for Ole Miss, good win for Baylor. Will,
Yeah.
you talked about this Baylor team. They're now 6-3, and they've played some really good teams. They've played well against some good teams.
Yeah, and especially on offense, I think has been the most impressive part. And that's kind of what I highlighted in the preseason. And like, yeah, they returned a lot of innings from last year, which is always going to be a big plus. But that coaching staff has been there a long time, and it just felt due that they were on the up and up. Armstrong has been unbelievable. Hunter Snow had a huge home run yesterday for Baylor, a 3-run
Yeah.
bomb. And then obviously you get Sanders at shortstop, who's arguably, I think he's the best shortstop in the Big 12. So a lot of really fun pieces. And Baylor and Houston were the two teams I talked about in the Big 12 in the preseason. Like, these are the two teams that everybody is ranking between 11th and 14th in conference. And these are two teams that can legitimately make a push for the top six. And I think both teams right now, if you made me power rank the Big 12, both would be in the top six. And I don't, I think it's very flip-flopped, especially with Arizona's struggles. But I think Baylor's going to be a really scary team in conference play.
Yeah, both teams have played well. They both have young stars. They've both shown up, and the pitching has been much better than we thought for both squads. We thought that was going to be the question mark for both. Houston pitching's been good, and Baylor's pitching has been really good, shutting down some really good teams. So it'll be interesting once we get to Big 12. It feels like Big 12 is wide open with everything that's going on there. Like, there's really good teams, but there's so many question marks. Like, West Virginia, we think is a really good team. They have so many question marks on offense still with all these D2 and D3 guys. Like, are they going to be able to perform against elite pitching? We don't know. It's going to be a fun Big 12 season. And then, of course, Arizona struggles. TCU has been struggling. Like, the teams that we had that were at the near the top of this last year, they're down at the bottom, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see. There's obviously a lot of room to move once we get into conference play. Texas 8, Coastal Carolina 1 at the Bruce Bowl. Tyler, I must start with you because we talked ad nauseum about this Coastal team. Not a bad start for them, but again, the 8-1 loss, and the team hits just 3 hits and now hitting 218 on the season.
Not great, Bob. The biggest thing that I kind of took away from this is like the score is a little bit not indicative of how the game was. Luke Jones pitched well. He pitched 5 innings, three earned. He did give up the home run that Aiden Robbins hit that basically hit the frame at 112-466. But I didn't think Coastal was pitching bad at all. Obviously, the 4 spot in the 8th to Texas was probably what did them in big time. But Ruger Regias was fantastic across 5 innings. Struck out 11, 1 hit allowed, 1 walk, 0 runs. He's looked like a completely different arm for this Texas staff. Since coming back from the flu last year, because remember he was a guy that had a lot of heat to him for scouting and for the draft. Got sick, lost some weight, and just got shelled to end the season. So to see a healthy and fully revitalized Ruger has been fantastic for Texas. But even after that, like, they only allowed 1 run. I think it was off Max Grubbs. Everyone else was fantastic for Texas. They have like a 1.32 team ERA through 9 games at this point. Is ridiculous what they've been able to put out on the pitching side. Texas just looks legitimate. That's basically one thing I can take away from this. We talked about Coastal and their bad offense. Again, we talked about it before. I felt like the Coastal offense was trying too much at times the opening weekend against Fairfield, and it took them a 6-7 innings, really, if you want to make a joke over, I don't care. It took them about 6 to 7 innings for them to kind of get their approach tapped in and to fully utilize their tools at the plate. So, it's a lot of pieces they lost last year. Dean Mijos is one of the biggest returners they had. He's a leadoff guy. But everyone else has been really struggling to get hits on the board. So it's going to be interesting for the rest of the season. I think they are, when we talk about the Sun Belt, this is under misses to lose at this point, I feel like. Coastal's definitely going to need some pitching to step up. They do have a lot of pitching depth, luckily for them, but the hitting has just not been there.
Yeah, and especially with Troy even losing yesterday 4-3 to Western Carolina, like, it seems like it's Southern Miss's to lose at this point, and they've been playing really good baseball. It's hard to imagine them, after the opening day loss to Jackson, Florida, who a lot of teams are going to lose to this year. That kid's going to get a lot of wins this season. And the fact of the matter is, that's okay to lose an opening day to that guy and then continue to win these games and beat up on some really good teams. More notes here on Texas pitching. You mentioned the 1.32 ERA, which is ridiculous, but the batting average for opponents is 163. The whip is .88 for the season. That's dumb. But Hunter, a little bit of offense from some transfers, right? Aiden Robbins comes in, Timo Becerra, Stanford transferred, hit 2 home runs. Really good for them as far as just getting some guys with some timely hits that are not the normal candidates you would think.
Yeah, no, I tweeted earlier this week, like Aiden Robbins already feels like the heart of this Texas team. And like when you talk about guys like him and Carson Tenney and Timo Becerra, like this was not Schlossnagel and this Texas staff going out and like finding guys that he thought were just going to like fill gaps. Like these dudes like love playing for Texas. Like you can tell like they are cherishing like this opportunity to go to these bigger programs, and like they have totally dominated so far. Like what Aiden Robbins has done, like he totally looks the part. And like when you see the numbers that a guy like him puts up at a place like Seton Hall, you're like, okay, yeah, it's Seton Hall. But then he goes to the Cape and looks the part, and then in the fall he was terrific, and it is just totally carried over. So like I'm all aboard the Aiden Robbins train that he hit a baseball off of. Like that is insane. And then Ashton Larson had a home run. Texas started abusing Crawford boxes late in that game that kind of really helped them separate. But like you guys have touched on, like I'm all in on this Texas team. I think they have the deepest pitching staff in the SEC. Like just the lineup top to bottom. Schloss really hasn't switched it up a lot. I think it's been Mendoza, Rodriguez, Robbins, Tenney has been the 1 through 4 every game so far. So like, if it ain't broke.
Yeah. Why fix it right now? And especially when those guys that have come in, like you mentioned, Robbins and Becerra and Tenney, those guys have performed and they've been really glue guys for this team as far as leadership and everything else that you want. Got to be really excited if you're a Texas Longhorn fan, especially with that pitching staff, how it is. They don't have to score a ton, and they're still being able to score. So, big for Texas.
Fantastic, by the way. He's been the best defensive catcher in the SEC so far.
It's unreal what he's done behind the dish for them. And we knew he was good coming from Notre Dame, but you don't know how good that translates in. And then when he gets there, it's like, wow, this is a difference maker. And the staff loves him. They're in love with how he's been behind the dish for them, and it's shown with how they're pitching and trusting him. So, big for Texas. I'm just going to mention the Ohio State UTSA game. It was really good. Ohio State 5, UTSA 6. Ohio State tried to come back there in the 9th and just falls just short there, but a really good game there. Let's move into some of these weekend series. Hunter, I'm gonna bring this one up because it's the first one. It's the big one. UT Arlington at Arkansas. They win 4-3. Caden Dygert, 0 earned runs, just 2 hits and 11 strikeouts in 8 2/3 against this Arkansas lineup. An Arkansas lineup now that is striking out more than 10 times per game.
It's crazy. This is crazy. And Kalen Dygert, 130 pitches.
Yeah.
This is, admittedly hand up, unfamiliar with his work coming into yesterday. But, this is his 3rd year at Arlington. And, like, he's a two-way guy. He's got some good numbers at the plate, too. And, like, for him to, like, there were a ton of non-competitive ABs in this game. Like, Arkansas looks totally lost at the plate right now. They, I've got the stat here. They're 105 strikeouts in the season now, easily leading the SEC. Like Dave Van Horn said, I believe it was after one of their games in Arlington, that like if guys don't start getting the bat off their shoulder or stop striking out, like they're going to be sitting next to him on the bench. At this point, I'm kind of waiting to see like when that's going to happen, because we're still rolling out these same 9-10 guys. A lot of the transfers for them have really not popped. Like it's been a struggle for New and Poppy. Brumbaugh has had a really tough start. He's played good defensive shortstop.
Good defense,
but like, it's just been really tough, and like it's still early, right? And like we've seen like the offense in the early portion of the season, like they've shown they can hit the ball. Like Ryder Helfrich and Cam Koschel have been great, but like I'm close to saying I'm a little worried about this team. Like things aren't trending in a good direction at the moment. But this is about Kalen Dygert, 130 pitches. This should have been a complete game shutout. The first baseman had an error that ended up taking him out of the game. Arkansas came so close to tying it, but just like hat tip to you, sir. What an effort!
What an effort I mean, the fact is you shut down a lineup that can score fast. Like if they get an opportunity, Arkansas can hit the ball at the ballpark and really change that game. But he pitched well in that game, and the question marks there for Arkansas. I mean, the offense is just not clicking. The pitching's been really good. Honestly, the pitching's been elite for Arkansas. That's what's been keeping them in ball games. That's why they have wins right now. Because if it wasn't for the pitching that they have, this would be an Arkansas team that's below 500. So I think that there's going to be lots of things to look at if you're an Arkansas fan, whether they're going, I had them at 25 in my poll to start the year and people were losing their mind on me. I think that's closer to where they are right now. I mean, honestly, or just outside the top 25. So we're going to see what happens the rest of the weekend here against UT Arlington. But
I want to throw out, Hunter mentioned 105 strikeouts to this point as a team. And he mentioned some of the struggles from the transfers. Pompey has 17 strikeouts to 2 walks this season. 52 of their 105 are coming from 4 guys in Pompey, Souza, Brumbaugh, and New. So those new guys are struggling pretty mightily. I mean, you gotta trust Coach Thompson. They've had such good offenses in the past. Like it's easy to hit the panic button because the results are really bad, and it's not that they're not scoring; it's that they're striking out probably upwards of 40% of the time at this moment. So you definitely want to panic on that piece of it. Like I think it's really easy to. But in terms of long term, I think Thompson is going to figure it out. He's an incredible hitting coach. Like they have talent on that team. It's just a matter of finding the right pieces. Like maybe some of those guys that they brought in aren't the right pieces. So we're going to find that out probably in the next 2 weeks. We're approaching conference play pretty quick.
Yeah. And by the way, the pitching staff has struck out 118. Yeah, their offense has struck out 105 times, but the pitching staff struck out 118. So good numbers there if you're looking at Arkansas, but they got to figure it out offensively. Tyler, I want to talk to you about this Clemson-South Carolina game. Clemson 0, South Carolina 7. Josh Gunther, 7 innings pitched, just 3 hits, 1 walk, and 10 strikeouts. And then Alex Valentine comes in, just 1 walk and 2 innings pitched, 0 hits, 5 strikeouts. That's the performance we needed from South Carolina if they want to be back in this thing. Now, the offense only had 4 hits, but the fact of the matter is we said that they had to go win a game this weekend, and they won the first one at home.
Yeah, I think the easiest way I can describe it is, and pardon my French, but what the fuck? This definitely was not the outcome I was expecting. Josh Gunther absolutely shoved it down Clemson's throat. Striking out 10, 3 hits allowed, 7 shutout. For a guy that he wasn't in the weekend rotation to start the year, he's now been thrust to the Friday spot because of the injuries they've had, and he looked fantastic. But Clemson themselves just looked super sloppy. Looking at some of the highlights, like there were 5 total errors in the game. South Carolina had more, yes, but you look at the third inning where South Carolina scored 4. I believe it was like there were 2 walks. There was 2 wild pitches. I believe somebody scored on the wild pitch as well. And South Carolina was able to capitalize on those mistakes from Clemson pretty handily. And with Gunther doing as much as he was on the mound, it was just really tough for Clemson to come back from that. For me, this is arguably the best performance I think we've seen from South Carolina in quite some time. Not even just this year, but like you look at last year, some of the performances they had against some of these bigger opponents were not fantastic. But this is definitely a breath of fresh air if you're a Gamecock fan. This is something we've been looking for a while from this team, and doing it against a Clemson team that is this good is fantastic. So tip of the cap to South Carolina and to everybody down there in Columbia. But interested to see how the rest of this series goes for Clemson.
Yeah, you get the neutral side today and then at Clemson on Sunday. I love the way that they do this series. It's really fantastic when they do the home, neutral home. I think that more teams should do that. I think it's pretty awesome to do that. It's tough on weekends. I know there's just not a lot of weekends that you can schedule with your rivals, especially out-of-conference rivals. But I love that this is one that we get to see every single year, and it's just fantastic. Again, Clemson fans, don't panic. It wasn't your day. You didn't play good baseball. That's going to happen in any baseball game. That's why we play the games out.
Yeah, I got to add too. Yeah, on that front, like these next 2 games are going to be chippy. Josh Gunther and Alex Valentine were giving it the big one.
They were chirping.
That 9th inning for Valentine was hilarious. But now, like thinking too, we know what this Clemson team can do, and there's obviously going to be some fuel to the fire. So Amp Phillips on the bump today at Segra Park for South Carolina, massive opportunity for them to win this series. And I said to you guys on Wednesday night after South Carolina lost to Queens, Clemson was going to pulverize these guys this weekend. So hands up. We'll see what happens the rest of this weekend, but regardless what Josh Gunther and Valentine did yesterday, unbelievable.
Yeah, it almost felt like it just gave them just deep breath. It just gave them an opportunity now to say, okay, we're not where we thought we were going to be after this weekend. We got one of those wins. Maybe they go get another one and feel really good about themselves heading into next weekend. But the fact of the matter is, going out and getting a win against South Carolina or against Clemson, not easy, even if it's at home, and it's with a new weekend rotation that they're going to throw out there this week. So I'm excited if you're a South Carolina fan, but I wouldn't put a ton of stock in saying that they're going to be off from the bottom edge of the of the SEC this year. So
yeah. Hey, before we go on to this next game here, I got to go down and put up some cameras. We're about to get here for 11 o'clock game. So if you guys want to time me, feel free. I'll be back in like 15-ish minutes. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, let's go to Southern Miss and Louisiana Tech. Southern Miss 8, Louisiana Tech 3. I said that this was going to be a really good game, Will. And the fact is that Joey Urban hits the home run in the first inning. Kyle Morrison homers in the fourth, proves to be enough. Golden Eagles get 4 innings pitched out of their bullpen, 1 hit, no runs. Cross Sibley and Josh Oates combined for that effort. The bullpen's been good. Colby Allen was okay, but a good win against Southern Miss just continues to find ways to win. The Golden Eagles, man.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it on the midweek. I mean, they really took it to Bama on Tuesday. A really impressive win. And Cross Sibley is one of those guys that's going to continue to come out of the bullpen, even though he could easily start for this team. Like, the stuff is off the charts. It has been since he arrived as a freshman. Ben Higdon and Joey Urban continue to just be a ridiculous top of the order. It's almost crazy to think that those two guys are hitting leadoff and second for them, because they're putting really 2 of their 3 best hitters at 1 and 2. And Joey Urban has a ton of pop. We saw it on the midweek as well. And honestly, this is a team, and I mentioned last week on Monday, they're not playing their best baseball, but Matthew Russo, I think, is the one guy to circle in the lineup. This guy has not gotten going yet. He's a guy that can easily be Sun Belt Player of the Year. Ridiculous pop, really good numbers. He went over yesterday, but don't be worried about him. If there's a guy that's going to figure it out, it's going to be him, because he's done it year in and year out. And then, of course, you have Kyle Morrison, who transferred, and he's towards the bottom of the order, and he's been unbelievable. He had 3 RBI last night. Man, It's just the pitching staff. Ostrander just does his thing, right? I mean, every single year this team has a really, really strong pitching staff. There's a really strong lineup, and they just win a ton of games, and they're going to continue to do so. They pulled away late in this one. It was actually pretty tight there for a while. It was 6-3 for the majority of that game, and the big 5-3, and then the big 3 spot in the 8th inning for Southern Miss. I mean, it's just a really good team. I don't think there's a ton more you can say about that. They are a really, really sound fundamental team, and they do a lot of things really, really well. And there's a reason that they've won 9 straight 40-plus seasons. And going for number 10, the one that I have circled is the date with Mississippi State on Tuesday, again at the Pete, because Southern Miss tends to perform really, really well at home in those midweek games.
Yeah. And like you said, these close games build them up mentally. I mean, this team is mentally tough. They've gone out that opening weekend was tough against UCSB. They had to come from behind in both their wins. And the fact of the matter is, this is a very, very good team. And if they can always keep finding ways to go out there and win, and they're so tough at home, if they get to host a regional, watch out. This is a good team. Like last year, they lost that regional at home. It was kind of a flukiness. I think that this team is actually more solid offensively and more prepared than that team was offensively last year. Now, the front end weekend rotation last year was ridiculous for Southern Miss, but I feel like the lineup is a little bit tougher this year for them. Let's move on to the Nebraska and Auburn game, Hunter. Nebraska 9, Auburn 8. There was 7 runs scored in the 10th inning of this one. It was 5-5 as we go to extras. I just want to point out Jake Marciano, another solid performance and another solid start for Auburn. The 4 spot for Nebraska in the top of the 10th was a lot. And you're like, okay, well, that's going to do it. Auburn battles back and puts 3 up in the bottom half.
Yeah, this was crazy. To touch on Jake Marciano, for the season now, 16 innings, 3 earned, no walks, 29 Ks. I don't think we expected that for him. We saw at Virginia Tech, what he was capable of, but when he got the Friday nod for opening weekend, I think we're like, okay, Griffin Graves is battling injury. I guess we'll see what happens here. But he has been awesome. But yeah, no, I mean, this is props to Nebraska, man. This is a big series for them because, as we know, they are not going to get many opportunities like this in Big Ten play. So if they can find a way to win another one of these games and get a series on the road against a top 10 SEC team like that is absolutely huge for them. But yeah, no, the things got off the rails late here. That home run from Jeske, It was kind of a weird swing. Like he really didn't get extended on it. Kind of like, kept. It was weird. I could not believe how far it went, nearly over the monster and left. But then, yeah, Auburn battled all the way back, had the tying run 90 feet away, the winning run on second base. Chase Fralick pops out to second. That was one when Jeske hit the homer for Nebraska. I turned it off. I went back to Florida, Miami. I was like, okay, that one's done. And then got a couple texts saying go back. So I was like, oh. But yeah, no, I mean, for Auburn, now you get a chance to rebound. Chris Rembert back in the lineup. He DH'd yesterday. Unclear if he's going to be playing any second base this weekend. But yeah, I mean, if you're Auburn now, it's like, all right, are you going to get punked in your home field? Like you got to find a way to respond. So that's definitely a series I've got my eye on today and tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's a good Nebraska team. I said it on Thursday. So this is a good Nebraska team. They have good pitching. They have good hitting. I think that they're a little bit underrated. And the fact is they went in and won, and you're okay because Auburn fans, you're fine. You got a lot of guys that are going to be coming back. A lot of guys going to be getting healthy here soon. You got to feel good. When Chase Fralick came up, though, with the guys on second and third, I was like, he's going to win it. Like, he's going to figure out a way to win this game. They just continue to win. But, kudos and tip of the hat there to Nebraska, as you said, Hunter. Big win for Nebraska on the road. I want to talk really quick about that USC Cal Poly game that you mentioned at the beginning, Hunter.
Yes.
6-0 in 11 innings. So USC took until the 11th to score 6 runs. Another terrific performance by Mason Edwards. He has been electric this year. 7 innings pitched, 0 hits, 4 walks, 11 Ks. Cal Poly was hitless through 10.
Yeah,
so the 11th to get their first hit.
Yeah, once all the SEC action for the night, I was like, I was scrolling ESPN Plus, and I was like, all right, I had this series circled, and it was in the bottom of the 9th, and like I was oblivious to what was going on, and then when the bug popped up and I saw the 0 in the hit column for Poly, I was like, oh my god, I had no idea. But yeah, the USC, I've got some of the stats here from USC's pitching so far. And shout out to Bradley Smart at D1 Baseball, who I believe put something up on it earlier. But through 9 games, this USC pitching staff, a 1.25 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, and they now have a 7-inning no-hitter that they had against Pepperdine, and then an 11-inning one-hitter against Cal Poly. 2 teams that are no slouches. Like, these guys have been outstanding, and like USC baseball is certainly higher up on my radar coming out of it's been an incredible start.
If they can find some offense. Now, this feels...
They don't need it. They don't need it, Mark.
I know, but they got to find something. But this does feel like those who have followed college baseball for a long time, this is a Stankiewicz team that's like a Grand Canyon team, like where they go out and they just get a few runs, but they pitch. They really are good on the mound. They're good defensively. They do the little things right. They put the ball in play. It hasn't amounted to a lot of runs yet, but they're putting pressure on teams even when they put the ball in play and do the little things. They're bunting. I really like where this USC team's heading. I think that they're putting themselves in that conversation to be maybe right with that Nebraska and those teams right below Michigan, like right below Oregon and UCLA for that contention there in the Big Ten. But very, very big for USC. They start off, they're undefeated, and the pitching staff has been up there with the likes of Texas and Oregon as far as stats go so far to start this season off. And people are kind of overlooking them just because you don't get to see a lot of them on the West Coast. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I was laughing when you put it in the chat last night because I was like, I didn't say anything. I didn't want to jinx it when they had the no-hitter going. But I mean,
I'll take responsibility.
I mean, I'm a superstitious guy coming from being a player and a coach and doing all the things. But I was laughing. I'm like sitting there watching it on my one screen. And I was just waiting to my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I can't talk about it. Just hang out.
We got to give a little shout out to I believe it was Griffin Nace was the starter for Cal Poly yesterday.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. I mean, they pitched off on Friday. So both teams actually pitched off on Friday to set up this matchup or on Thursday, excuse me. They pitched off on Thursday because it's a 4-game set to set up these 2 guys on Friday. And holy cow, what a pitcher's duel. I mean, just unbelievable. Like I knew it was going to be a really, really fun pitching game, but for that game, me and Tyler were walking home from the field last night. Like we left the field, we walk out of the stadium, and he's like, "You'll never guess what." And I was like, "What?" USC's got a no hitter in the 9th right now, but it's 0-0. It's like, shut up. And then we walk, the mile back to the hotel, and 6-0 USC. What the hell happened? Just a crazy game, super fun one. I mean, that's gonna be a really fun series, and USC long term, like we weren't sure what that team was going to be when we did our Big Ten preview. They're going to win a ton of conference games with that pitching staff, a ton of conference games. And like Hunter said, like, I don't even know how much they're going to have to score. If they can hold teams to 2 runs, I mean, that might be enough a lot of the time in the Big Ten.
It feels like a gritty team. It feels like a really, really good baseball team. And I felt their last year in the Pac-12 that they should have been in the tournament with their 17 conference wins, and they kind of got shunned. I think that this is a team that's going to battle to try to get into the tournament this year. Very, very good team. Let's talk about Florida-Miami. Marquee, huge series. 2 top 25 teams. Big, big, big baseball series. Great rivalry. Love it. Florida goes out there, takes care of business. Liam Peterson, the big enigma, as I call him, was really good. He got the no decision, unfortunately, missed a few pitches there late. But Hunter, this was a good win for Florida at Miami.
Yeah, I mean, it got talked about a lot coming into this weekend that the all-time series here is deadlocked coming into last night, which is insane. But yeah, Liam Peterson, he waned a bit towards the end, but the final line, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 8 Ks. Like, this is why I like having him in the Friday night role because, obviously you're going to get the ebbs and flows. You're going to get some bad starts like we saw week 1 against UAB. But like when you get him when he's near his best, and then you get to come back with Aiden King on Saturday, who is potentially the best pitcher in the SEC, like that is going to make it super hard on Miami tonight. This was another great atmosphere. Brendan Lawson, 3 for 3, like SEC Player of the Year talks. Like we got to get those ramping up. Like I was admittedly underrating him a little bit coming into this season. Like what he's doing is incredible. And then also Cash Strayer is an under the radar SEC Freshman of the Year candidate coming out of these first few weekends. He's been terrific. Blake Sear has been great. Like Florida's offense has impressed me coming into this season. That was my thing with him. I was like, I like some of the guys coming back. Like Curlin has already been kind of hurt again, but Kyle Jones has been terrific hitting leadoff for them. And then, the bullpen held it down. We saw in those 2 midweek games versus FIU, the bullpen it was midweek pitching, but it was super shaky. But they looked really terrific. Ethan Sorowick, he played great third base and had a couple knocks as well. So like my Florida stock is also on the rise. Obviously we'll see what happens these next 2 games, but like they look pretty good.
Yeah, I thought I had everything thinking that Miami was going to go out there, and if Peterson struggled, they were going to take advantage. He didn't struggle, and that really just set the tone for the Florida offense. Lawson's been unbelievable for them because I really didn't think that Florida's offense was going to be as good as it has been this year. It's been really solid. I thought that they were going to struggle at points. Kid Curlin, again, like you mentioned, he's hurt again. That's a tough spot for them, but if he comes back, this offense will be firing on all cylinders. And Jones has been so good at the top of the lineup for them. I did not see that huge jump forward from last year, and it's good. I mean, the fact is Florida is playing good baseball, and it's a big win for them. Again, they get Aiden King today at Miami. Again, Miami's got to bounce back. I know Kane's got heat. It was a tough loss there for your first loss, but you got to come back and win tonight if you're Miami. Florida, if you go out and win this one, you feel really good before you head into SEC play. West Virginia, Kennesaw State. West Virginia wins 12-4. Another good performance by Dawson's. Just a very good Montesa. He just shows up. He's been elite for this West Virginia team, and if this continues, you can go ahead and pencil this West Virginia team in to win the Big 12, which I don't think anybody really had them doing with all the pieces that they added this year. We knew they'd be good. We didn't know how good it was going to be. But the 12 runs on offense and the pitching staff has been really, really good with all the transfers in. Big kudos there to West Virginia. Austin P in Cincinnati. Austin P 4, Cincinnati 5. That one took 10 innings. The Diet Mountain Dew face-off between those 2 tremendous coaches. Big win for Bishel at home there against Austin P. Oklahoma wins 12-4 over Gonzaga, a Gonzaga team that has been struggling to start this year, but I still think that they are the best team in the WCC. Haven't really performed yet on either side of the ball, but a big win there for Oklahoma, bouncing back after the 1 loss in the midweek to Arizona State. Michigan 5, San Diego 6. Will, I'm going to let you talk on this really quick because we got some other stuff to talk about, but tough loss for Michigan on the road at San Diego.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to – Michigan pitched off yesterday, right? Like,
yeah.
And not that they really pitched off because Cade Cunningham no, not Cade Cunningham. That's basketball. Blanking on his name, but the kid from Utah Tech who transferred in this year was unbelievable last year. He threw last night. So they pitched off. Tate Carey's going to have the ball today. You have a really good shot to win. Again, they have a really good 1-2 punch. Like, it's a close game that you lose, right? That's baseball. I don't want to say anything really other than that, honestly. I thought it was just a really good game, like all around. Like it was a really good game. USD is a very solid program. Like I think Michigan is going to win a lot of games in the Big Ten with that 1-2 punch of those two guys of Perry and I like that team. I think the questions for me are on offense. Like, how consistently are they going to score? And, like, can they break through against good pitching? But, man, just an all-around good game.
Yeah.
Cade Montgomery.
It's just good. I mean, and the fact is, you're going to lose baseball games. Don't panic, folks. You're going to lose baseball games. It happens. This is part of the game. But it would be nice for Michigan to go win the next two so they feel really good before they head into conference play here. Some of the games today, UCLA at Texas A&M. You guys are going to be down there. You guys are there now. Arizona State and Tennessee. That's going to be an exciting one. Oregon, UC Irvine down in Vegas. Arizona and Vanderbilt in Vegas. Mississippi State and Vatech also down there with you guys. Troy, ECU, Coastal and UTSA. Alabama and Oregon State. Those are all today. Teams that look good, Hunter. What team stood out for you as being like, hey, this was a very good performance tonight or last night?
We touched on Texas a lot, but like it kind of goes back to them for me. Like what Max Wiener is doing with this pitching staff, like, when we saw that Riojas was going to be the Friday night guy, we're like, all right, because there's a lot of question marks about like how Volantis was going to make the jump from the bullpen to the rotation, and like you have Luke Harrison and there's a bunch of other guys, but like if Riojas is going to be this good every week, and then you get to come back with Luke Harrison today and Dylan Volantis on Sunday. And you've got Burns, Grubbs, like Cozart has looked unbelievable for them in the midweek. Like they have Hayden Lefew, who hasn't really even gotten to do anything yet. The lefty transfer from Wake, like it's just an embarrassment of riches. And then these transfers are all clicking. Everybody's hitting. And that injuries aside, that is a good Coastal team. Yeah. Like, are they struggling out of the gates a little bit? Like, yeah, I really wish we could have seen Cam Flukie pitch yesterday. Like that just kind of is what it is. But like, that was still a dominant performance in an MLB park over a team that was at the College World Series championship last season. So like, Texas is my coming into SEC play in a couple weeks. Like they're atop my list. We didn't touch on LSU. They did not look very good. Yesterday. That was an interesting one. But Texas is top of mind for me of teams that really impressed yesterday.
Yeah, it was, I said it on Thursday night. I said Texas has an opportunity if they look really good this weekend and dominate, that they could be considered one of the top 3 teams in the country. They've already been top 3 for us. I think that they could push their way to number 1 depending on what happens the rest of the weekend. LSU didn't look great. UCLA did look good, but they've already got 2 losses this season. But the Texas staff has been good. I'm going to talk about another team that has the pitching staff. Oregon. That pitching staff has been just elite for them. They're 9-0. I don't think people were taking a look at this pitching staff. They said, they're going to hit their way into ball games. They're going to be able to hit, and they're going to stay in. It's the pitching staff has been just so good. 9 innings, 5 hits, 4 walks, 0 earned runs, as I mentioned. Will Sanford, Tanner Bradley, and Ryan Featherston combined for 19 strikeouts against an Arizona team that had their back against the wall and didn't perform. It's very good for Oregon to go out and get that one. Now they got 2 more games against some tough opponents with UC Irvine today and then Vanderbilt on Sunday. So very excited for those. Will, any team that came to mind when you thought looked really good yesterday?
Honestly, my big one was UCLA.
Yeah.
Like Tegan Crooms threw really well yesterday for Tennessee, and I know that the earned runs given up, it does not necessarily indicate how well he threw. I mean, he punched out 10 and really was just a victim to the long ball. I mean, 4 earned runs on 6 hits. I believe he gave up 3 home runs. Yeah. UCLA found a way to hit really good pitches out of a really big ballpark, and that was the most impressive part to me. And it seems like the offense is getting better every single week, right? Like it really does. And Will Gasparino is sliding right in. Coach Savage talked really highly of him, and being able for him to come home into LA and play with the guys that he grew up with, I think is really important for that team. And it's been such a chemistry and culture boost. Like I'm really high on this team. And Redeman looked fantastic yesterday as well. Against the Tennessee offense that certainly has some firepower in it, but I was really impressed with both ends of the ball for them.
Yeah. And Tyler's back. He made it back in time. All right. Teams that didn't look so good. Hunter, I'll let you start on this one again because, we don't like to downplay teams, but there's some teams that we have some question marks on, and that's kind of where I want to go with this question is a team that you're like, man, they didn't show up, and now I have questions still going into league play.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on Arkansas too much because we talked about that a lot, but like, there's a lot of pressure on Hunter Dietz to come out and have a good start for them
Yeah.
today. And if it's Parker Coyle that ends up piggybacking him again, like, you know, we saw the fair or unfair social media outrage of Tennessee losing a series to Kent State, and we know what this Arkansas fan base is like. And they lost a midweek game to Arkansas State earlier in the week too, so it's like a 3-loss week is like, I don't know. So, very curious to see how they come out and respond today. And then another one I wanted to touch on was Indiana lost their first game at Western Kentucky. And, Western Kentucky, obviously, they always play great baseball. It's not easy to win in Bowling Green, but like
they lost a lot though. But yeah.
Yeah, but like you go back to the first weekend, and I can't remember his name. The second baseman for IU that had the yips with the throw that cost them the game against UNC. They ended up getting swept. They have a 1 or 2 weekend in Jacksonville where they didn't look awful, but they certainly didn't look good. And now you've got a doubleheader with WKU today and a fourth game on Sunday. So like, this is a team that I think we expected to be, like if the Big Ten was going to get, an extra bid or two, like they've got to find a way to, figure some things out here before conference play heats up. So I'm curious to see how they look the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, and Arkansas, I think you're already at best a 2-2. If you drop another one, you're feeling really rough before you're heading into SEC play. So I think you're spot on there, Hunter. Oh, Tyler, welcome back. You made it. Any team you think that hey, the question marks are still there and they didn't really perform so far on Friday night? You're muted, I think, Tyler.
Am I?
Now
there
you're
you
good.
Go.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, Arkansas obviously is one. I know we've already talked about it, harped on it. That's honestly really the only team I can think of at this moment. So I don't want to hark on what's already been said before. But it's definitely getting closer to where I want to hit the panic button on this offense.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, the offenses of Arizona and Arkansas have not shown up yet, and I think that's been a big question. Will, any team you want to touch on that you think maybe is a lot better than what they've been showing so far?
Yeah, we've got plenty of noise here with first pitch about to hit off, but I'm just gonna go. I'm
finish this thing up.
I'm gonna go easy and go Clemson. Aiden Ack didn't look like Aiden Ack yesterday, and you lost to South Carolina coming off of some really rough losses. So, Clemson, gotta bounce back.
Yeah, and ACC seems like it's wide open. There's a lot of talent there, but the top end is wide open in that conference, and it's going to be interesting to see that thing come down the stretch. Thanks for joining us, folks. We are at our time here as games are getting kicked off. Awesome, another Saturday morning. We'll be joining you guys Monday night. We do the live Top 25 show. Join us live for that one. Thursday, we're doing live shows as well. We'll set you up for the weekend conference previews. We got all sorts of fun stuff coming here the next week. Thanks for joining us. For Mark Garland, Will Mossa, Tyler Jennings, and Hunter Shelton. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys again next week.